Hello children, welcome to aimsindia's online classes. This is biology session. You are watching reproduction, the generating system, part 4. So in the animals, sexual reproduction is most advantageous, as we have studied the basic concept, that is male reproductive system in general, and we are discussing now about the human reproductive system. The female reproductive system, the production of ovum is peculiar. Okay, a cycle involves a menstrual cycle. It involves the cyclic changes in the female's reproductive tract, culminating in menstruation. Okay, the menstruation is a flow of catastrophic and fallopian through the vagina, consisting of proliferative phase that lasts for 14 days, first 14 days, then the secondary phase, the last 10 days, and the menstrual or the bleeding phase, that is the last that lasts 4 days. The first menstruation begins at the puberty and is called as menarche. Okay. Let us proceed further in today's class. The development stages. As from the ovum to uterus, we encounter one of the most marvelous control mechanisms that man and other mammals possess. The uterus at the time of fertilization is adapted to receiving the developing egg, providing it with food, disposing of its weight. A few days prior to this time, the uterus is in normal condition. Then it was small. Its tissues were thin, and its supply of the blood vessels was poor. Now that the fertilized egg or zygote is about to enter, the uterus enlarges and become much larger. Its wall is thick, soft, and moist with fluid. Its blood supply is greatly increased. It is, so to speak, just waiting for the demonic occupant. Okay, that is called as a embryo. Actually, a series of changes in the human fertilization, that is the union of spermatozoa, the male gamete, with an ovum, the female gamete. It will result in the formation of in the production. So this is called the fertilization. Syngamy. Syngamy means fusion of gametes. The human fertilization involves release of semen by male into the vagina of the female during copulation. Then the capacitization of the spermatozoon in the female genital tract. And the third one is the movement of the spermatozoon to secondary oocyte in the fallopian tube. The fourth event is the passing of spermatozoon between the okay, that is okay. And the penetration of fertilization is sometimes called which dissolve that zona pellucida and the gametes gradually moves down to the uterus, the process called implantation. Okay, how this takes place. The formation of young ones from a zygote by a series of mitotic divisions is called as development. The study of developmental events occurring in mother's womb is called embryology. Now we are going to discuss embryological changes which takes place in the human embryo. Okay. The fertilized ovum undergoes the division as it moves down the oviduct and finally attaches to the soft tissue of the uterus. So this is called implantation. Once implantation occurs, the embryo sinks into the soft inner uterine wall. Then the certain cells of the embryo develop into the membranous structure that helps to nourish, protect, and support the developing embryos. So these membranous structures are called embryonic membranes. Okay. During the development of the embryo, the tiny finger-like projections grow from the surface of the outer membrane. It is called chorion. Okay, 3 important embryonic membranes. They are called amnion, chorion, and allantois. Okay, in the animals. So here during like projections which grow from the surface of the outer membrane, it is called chorion. The projections spread or penetrate into the soft tissues of the uterus. The small pools of rapid moving blood around these projections in the uterine wall, and the adjacent part to make up another structure is called placenta. Between and uterine wall, bringing foetal blood vessels very close to the material, means uterine blood vessels, to allow the exchange of material between the mother and the developing and produces hormones like HCG and HPL. You will study in your higher classes. It also produces a small amount of estrogen and progesterone also. Okay. The plant embryo and the mother. The embryos, the blood vessel. It is formed at around the 12th week, called a gestation period. Gestation period. Gestation period is okay, 3 days approximately. For the normal conditions, there is no direct flow of blood from mother to the young. The blood systems of the two are separated by thin membranes made up of cells that allow an exchange mainly by a process carbon dioxide and even the waste materials also takes place through these thin membranes. Okay, so this is the placenta. Next, so amnion, okay? Another embryonic membrane, the amnion. Okay, it goes around the embryo itself. The cavity within the amnion becomes fluid called fluid. It acts like a preservative and protects the embryo from mechanical injury. The embryo develops in the fluid-filled cavity, which keeps it moist and protects it from minor mechanical injuries. So another membrane called allantois. So another membrane called allantois originates from the of the embryo, forms the major part of a tube-like structure that is called umbilical cord. Okay, this is the umbilical cord. Okay, so this umbilical cord is placenta will be detached naturally. This umbilical attached to the baby by okay. So it contains the very important blood vessels that connect the embryo with the placenta. Okay, the umbilical cord contains very important blood vessels. Thus the embryo develops until it is ready to be born. Okay, that period from the 3rd month of pregnancy, the embryo is so almost all organs are formed. The pregnancy lasts on an average of 9 months or to 8 months. This period is called gestation period. So observe the chart showing the month-wise developmental stages of human embryo. So this is the first stage. Okay, actually the cleavage occurs, mitotic division in the zygote that converts it into the morula, the ball of cells, and which continues to divide and transform into the blastocyst. Then it moves further into the uterus. The outer layer, the trophoblast of the blastocyst, attached to endometrium, and the inner uterine cell wall. The uterine cell cover the blastocyst by multiplying rapidly. Thus the blastocyst gets embedded. That is called implantation. So after implantation, the cleavage continues. That is gastrulation. Gastrulation occurs during the 2nd week. And, the transfer of blastocyst into major layers. Okay. Then the gastrulation is followed by neurulation. So neural plate laid down. Then okay, this is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. The 4th development, you can see the drastic changes. The development in the organs. Okay, organogenesis. Okay. So what happened? The gastrulation followed by the neurulation, and of organs appears. The 4 embryonic foetal membranes are formed, that is yolk sac, amnion, allantois, and chorion. Yolk sac encloses the fluid, not yolk. It forms the blood corpuscles during the early development. The amnion contains fluid which cushions the embryo, protecting it from shocks and injury. Red corpuscles in the early embryo forms plant. Okay. The process of delivery of the fetus or childbirth. The signals for the originate from the fully developed fetus and placenta. as the pregnancy progresses, the fetus of an embryo with certain characters grows, and the uterus increases usually at about down toward of the uterus, and at birth the hand usually comes out first. Sometimes the feet come faster. This makes the delivery more difficult. We still do not know much about the mechanism of the childbirth triggered. Okay, involves the participation of several hormones. Okay, which oxytocin is the one of the hormone of released by the pituitary gland. It stimulates the muscles of the uterus to contract and relax rhythmically. The childbirth begins with the muscle layers of the uterus starts to a rhythmic contract and relax. These actions are labor pains. Okay, is just strong to move the baby slowly toward the vagina and outer canal of the female reproductive tract. Generally, at this stage, the sac baby breaks and its fluid containing the amniotic fluid releases out. It is good sign becomes and more frequent, and the baby is pushed through the vagina and into the outer world. The baby to the placenta is tied off and cut by the doctor. The small piece of cord remaining attached to the baby shrivels and falls off within a few days. And must the navel marks the place where it once entered the body. After the birth of the baby, the muscular contractions of the uterus continues until they push out the tissues of the placenta, which are commonly called the after. The lymph-like colostrum after the baby is born, the colostrum to the newborn. It helps in developing the please read the textbook. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.